very early, so if I run over, please forgive me. Bear with me. The first one is entitled Resurrection. It's relatively new. I've never read it here before. And then there's some older stuff that I'll work through. Resurrection. Rose is a barista at an all-night bistro up in the Bronx. She doesn't speak the language of empire. She never speaks unless spoken to. Rose's brain tunes in to a four-dimensional design and tunes out to the Hollywood film set with the meta-narrative of church and state gathering and trembling in herds on suburban front lawns in the shadow of shopping malls for mutual grooming and judgment. Falling down on her hands and knees behind the altar of the coffee bar, Rose is transfigured in the ancient reign of Bob Kaufman, Jesus Christ, Moses, and Elijah. But the agents of empire, looking good in fine cloth and sashes, pursue her brain to the edges of its most hopeless hours, alone with the tedium of counting the clock tick by tick in front of the cataract eyes of broken-hearted, flat-gazing blinds, yet onto the filthy shoulders of the next row house. Shoulders of dust and ashes, shoulders of crucifixion, shoulders splashed with mud from April's cold rain, left over from another winter-spoiled dinner, making steam on the portals of the Titanic American dream. Enshrouded in an iron-gray cloud of soft agonies, obscuring observation and gathering closer to my own recurring dream where we travel hallucinatory in the dust that we are and the dust that we revisit one by one, alone in the terror of birth, alone in the terror of death, making cold, dry wicks from the candles of prayer. We light along the avenue as a memorial to the face of God, who once went about peeping like a voyeur through the keyhole in the privacy fence of our imagination onto sad pedestrian dreams. In emulation of Rosie the barista and Gino's suicidal baby brother Little Joe, I drop onto my all four paws and we are transfigured in a halo of moonlight, in dark fields of earth, gripping the cool soil with ragged primal claws, running at the speed of wind, becoming superior lycanthropic creatures, born anew in the age of ruins, shaking the dust of the ground from the pads of our feet against the secondary epiphenomenon of upright human hypocrisy and its late arrival, like an effeminate villainous hegemon on the evolutionary stage of living theater. Corpulent priests and their Baptist colleagues and their own courtesans, raving in their presence, stumbling arrogantly, carelessly, among the ruins of beautiful ancient ferocities, replacing the deities of old with Bible tracts and Happy Meal marquees and cops and courts and presidents and the minor lives of happy sycophants, wandering carelessly among the relics, laying fleshy hands on the bones of ancient memory, turning to face the sun with blind eyes, wiping sweat from their brows with the linen handkerchief from the fingers of slaves, wiping the sweat of cheap grace on the faces of conveniently dismissed heroes and saints, forgetting the power and the beauty and grace and ferocity of the original breath of God. Transcendent and eminent, simultaneous, beautiful, potent, paradox, est non deitatis, sed antiquis deitatis, est non Deus, sed antiquis Deus. Dionysus of myth and epiphany, the God who comes, the God who dies, the God who resurrects, the God who comes again, a dangerous foreigner in the living rooms of the tame and the sane, and their right to bear arms against the Christ who leaps from the cross, a wild alien being, freed from a human trap, coaxing the raving ones, drunk on blood and wine and madness as a primitive rite of passage inward, The states of many waters, transcendent and real, all the knowledge of the cosmos towering over the pretensions of upright human cognizance. Tu spelucrum lacron, meretrices fucking templum ignave. Murder and suicide, unpremeditated. So was it us? Was it us who killed the old pawnbroker and her cousin Lisveta with axes of blood in perfect madness, costumed with apologies from the genesis of rationalization, attempting feeble copulations with the most ancient wisdom, breathed by God into images of clay, vocalized in gestures and blood without judgment, whose madness needs no justification, they were just rodents in a Dionysian field, and Jesus was there too, wearing the eyes of Angelo Dundee, managing the murder of the meta-narrative of wife and children, proclaiming the great man, insulating Sugar Ray Baby from the character assassin's playbook after his first round knockouts in the family living room.